The students were in chapter software requirements. So yesterday we have taken the first topic in the software requirement chapter, that is introduction. In that we are trying to understand what is user requirement and what is system requirement. Today we will take up the next topic, that is functional requirements and non-functional requirements. Now you know that software requirements are nothing but what are the services expected by the user from the software. So software requirements can be classified into three categories. One, functional requirements. Second, non-functional requirements. And third is the domain requirement. So there are three categories. One is functional requirement, second is non-functional requirement, and third is domain requirement. Now we'll try and understand what is functional requirement. Functional requirement, these are the statements of services that the system should provide. How the system should react to a particular situation, inputs, and how the system should behave in a particular situation. So these functional requirements tell us how the system reacts to a given input, to given situation, and what are the services the system should provide. So the name itself suggests functional requirement. That means what is the function that the system is developed for, accordingly the system should deliver. Now non-functional requirements, as the name suggests, they are apart from the functional requirements. These are most common to the every software. These are nothing to do with the functional requirements. So these are the constraints on the services or the functions offered by the system. So these are the constraints. Next, they include timing constraints, constraints on the development process, and standards. So these are the general statements and the constraints on particular system. They often apply to the system as a whole and not to the individual system feature or services. So these non-functional constraints affect all the system, that is whole system. They do not affect particular section or particular feature of the system. Coming back to the what is functional requirements, yes, they describe what the system should do. Now we are talking in detail about what is the functional requirement. The requirements depend upon the type of software being developed. So what kind of software we are developing? Are we developing software for library system or hospital or educational institute or some industry like that? The expected users of the software. So who are going to use this software? What is their educational level? In what function area they are working? What is their awareness about computer? All this. The general approach taken by the organization when writing the requirements. So what the organization expects when they have written the requirements, even that is to be studied. Functional system requirements describe the system function in detail, its inputs, outputs, exception. So they talk about particular functional area, about the inputs, about the outputs, how the thing should be processed, likewise. Let us take one example that we considered in the previous class, that is library system. This library system called as libsys, is a system for a university library, whose beneficiaries are professors, students, and other university staff. So Example of library says the functional requirements are the user shall be able to search either all of the initial set of databases or select subset from it. So the user should be able to select initial set of the database available, or if the database is very large, he can search for particular subset. Suppose if he wants to is interested in only commerce, he can take subset as a commerce and select the topic and the author. If he is interested in science, he can work only on science information and search for the required information. The system shall provide appropriate viewers for the users to read documents in the document store. So the facility, as it is a library system, facility should be given to the needy person to view the documents. So viewers should be available. In what format the user can understand the information, such viewers should be made available. Functional requirements. In principle, the functional requirements specification of the system should be both complete and consistent. Yes, completeness and consistency is very much required from the functional requirement point of view. We will try to know what is completeness and what is consistency. Completeness means that all the services required by the user should be defined. Okay, completeness means all the services required by the user should be defined. There should be clarity, no ambiguity. What services is the system able to give? That should be clearly stated. That is what we mean by completeness. So there is no confusion, no ambiguity in the service. Consistency means that all the requirements should not have contradictory definition. Yes, consistency means they should mean the same. There should not be difference of opinion. If there is contradiction, then we do not know what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so completeness and consistency are very important factor as far as functional requirement is concerned. For large complex system, achieving both completeness and consistency is not possible. These are ideal. Completeness and consistency are ideal situations, but they do not go hand in hand at last for large system. So the best compromise must be done. Now we'll go to non-functional requirements. These, as the name suggests, they do not apply only to particular functions. They are general in nature. As the name suggests, they are not directly concerned with the specific functions delivered by the system. So they are not concerned what the system is developed for. They are applicable for all the systems or all the functions. They may relate to emergent system properties such as reliability, response time, store occupancy. So response time, storage space, all these are applicable for every system. They specify or constrain the emergent properties. System, example, system performance, security, availability, response time. So what is the security required for the particular system? What is the performance? All this should be properly gauged. Now these non-functional requirements are more critical in nature. They affect the system acceptability. So they are often more critical than the functional requirements, because functional requirements talk about specific area, whereas this non-functional requirements apply for the whole system. Failing to meet a non-functional requirement can mean that the whole system is unusable. If you do not meet the non-functional requirement, then the system would not be useful. This is how the non-functional requirement affect the system very badly. For example, if an aircraft system does not meet its reliability requirement, it is not certified as a safe operation. So if you consider aircraft system, then most important aspect is that it should be safe. It should be safe. That is, if the reliability is not possible, then that aircraft system is not certified. Okay, so these non-functional requirements affect the whole system and are very critical in nature. The functional user requirements define specific facilities to be provided by the system. So these functional requirements are particular facility available by the system. These have been taken from the user's requirement document. So there is something called as user's requirement document, which speaks about the various services the user gets from a particular system. This we will study as an independent topic. These may be written at different levels of detail. So today we have tried to understand what is functional requirement and non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements are very critical for the system, whereas functional requirements affect only specific functions. Okay. More regarding this we will take up in the next class. Thank you.